Mouth-watering games across Europe this weekend, especially in Italy.
Yep, the action is in Italy. I guess there'll be 7 more pizza and some pasta.
A lot of spaghetti and pasta.
All of that. But those games will be dishing out mouth-watering excitement. First of all, Friday. Juve Roma.
Interesting encounter. I don't know, Percy. What do you make of that game, Juventus AS Roma?
I always say that this season you may decide to sideline Roma
at your own peril.
Yeah, because the last time Roma won the league, that is around 2001, I see the very similar traits that were there. That was the time of Totti and his compatriots winning it the last time with Batistuta and all of that. I see the same thing in them. The unfortunate thing is Gini Wijnaldum getting the injury that is going to even hinder him from going.
But how crucial is he to this Roma midfield?
I think it's not necessarily.
Yeah, like I was saying, that is just to him. But you see, Mourinho always picks the players that want to play for him.
Exactly.
You can get someone like Tammy Abraham. There was no way he wouldn't have gone to Roma. But after he left Chelsea, there's a resurgence, and they've not lost any match this season. It was like last season was a preparatory. They were able to win the Conference League. And this season, this is not the Juventus we know of old. Yeah. So you don't have to sideline Roma. This is a possibility. It's a possibility. Mourinho has done it before. And it's Juventus playing at home.
Yeah.
And the Allianz Stadium is not the Allianz Stadium that used to be. And I see Roma pulling a surprise. But the only thing is that there would be goals. But Roma has a formidable defense. They've been winning their matches by 1-0 margin. And
this season, they actually hold a 100% record, having won both of their games.
That's the Mourinho
alongside Inter Milan.
That's a Mourinho typical side.
It's not necessarily how many goals they score. And Juventus had to draw. And I think this match, Roma will not lose.
Where do you see this game tilting towards?
I sort of agree with Percy. You look at Roma in the opening 2 games, there's been this aura of defensive solidity. That was missing last year. Throughout this area, they were leaky at the back. But I look at this season, Mourinho has seemingly corrected those defects. And you look at Juventus, they struggled to find their way around Sampdoria on Monday. And Sampdoria sat deep. They sat deep, prevented Juventus from getting around them. Eventually game ended in a draw and all of that. It's the same sort of test Roma would give. Roma would prefer to surrender possession.
That's why
you're at home, play, come get us. That's where you feel Roma would exploit.
True. That's why I also feel the absence of Angel Di Maria would be very crucial to the setup of Juventus, because we have players who can, draw defenders out because
shell.
They play out very wide, or they know how to cut in like Di Maria does. In his first game, he was brilliant for Juventus in his first game. They won't miss his absence. But there's still Vlahovic, who has been firing at all cylinders. They also be missing the services of, Federico Chiesa in there, but they have, Locatelli. Juventus, for me, have a very solid team that a lot of people may not be looking at. They've kept the core of their team. But against Roma, like you said, it's going to be a very, very dodgy game. And for me, where the game will be won is the midfield. If Juventus is able to control the midfield with players like, Fabio Maretti and Locatelli and the likes, they can suck up the energy that Jose Mourinho and his team usually bring.
I usually doubt that. You see, what Mourinho plays now, he has a Matic there, he has Pellegrini and his likes over there. If you decide to rather have a midfield, like you said, he surrenders the possession to you. Mourinho is always thinking of 3 things: a target man who is always able to hold that play, a defensive box-to-box destroyer, and a very formidable defense, and a good goalkeeper. His wingmen are not really, he's not necessarily concerned about the inverted wingers who would probably score goals. No, he's not so much concerned about that. And Smalling of United and has been reborn. And I see him, in fact, the English national team should really consider, because if you're able to consider someone like Maguire to be your man in the 3-man defense at the back,
I think,
and you are not considering a player like Smalling. You see, even after the World Cup, when Smalling was overlooked over Maguire, he had to come and apologize. What was the name? Southgate had to come and apologize for not bringing him. And I see Smalling is reborn.
Don't get emotional. Stop lobbying.
No, I'm not getting emotional.
You're kind of lobbying for.
No. I'm not lobbying for him. I'm just telling you the fact on the ground.
Anyway, let's switch to, like you said, Friday. Very, very big game. Inter, taking on Lazio. They travel all the way to the Olympic Stadium to play Lazio. Where do you see this game going?
I think this weekend there's going to be a lot of party in the capital. Roma beating Juventus, Lazio getting their fair share over Inter.
So you think Lazio will beat Inter Milan?
The game features a bit of return for Simone Inzaghi.
Yeah.
He's coming back home and all of that. But you look at Inter, Romelu Lukaku has been the man that has seemingly turned around these fortunes. Simone Inzaghi has got something that was missing. I think Dzeko didn't offer too much. I think he's found that in Lukaku. They already have their understanding between himself and Lautaro Martinez, and those two will be key in getting Inter over the line. But you look at Lazio on the other hand, playing at home, playing in front of a partisan crowd, there's no much motivation than that. I feel that could be, the 12th man could be the turning point for this particular game.
I hold a contrary view to this because I feel, listen, if in Italy, the only team that for me has a complete team or setup is Inter Milan, because if you look at their forward line, if you look at their midfield, if you look at their defense, Inter have a complete team. And like I told you, I tipped them to win the Serie A. If you look at Inter's midfield, he usually goes for a 3-5-2 with Dumfries, playing as a wing back, with DiMarco and Dumfries playing as wing backs, where they usually literally become inverted midfielders, where he usually exploits the pace and the strength of Romelu Lukaku and the vision of Lautaro Martinez. I'm expecting that, listen, the Inter midfield would easily outrun the Lazio midfield. The likes of, like I mentioned, DiMarco, Barella, Çalhanoğlu. These guys have been brilliant in Inter's first two games. Though against Spezia they struggled, but Inter have been very, very good. I think that they would easily walk over Lazio in this game. I, for me, tip Inter to do one over Lazio on Friday.
I don't really know why you said Inter has a complete team.
Inter has one of the most complete teams in Europe.
Are you talking about?
I'm not even talking about Italy in Europe.
No, it's per their formation. They have the players there.
That's all they need.
No, but do you know the team that Roma has?
We're not even talking about Roma.
What you are doing is you are doing player per position.
The focus is on Inter Milan and Lazio. The focus is on Inter Milan and Lazio.
But what you said was a general thing, but that is just by the way. But you see, Lazio is a team. Lazio is a team that until recently it was a force. They were a force
to reckon with.
Yes, a force in the late 90s and the early 2000s, and they have always been a middle table. The least they go to is probably a Europa or something. And I said this season would be one of the most competitive seasons in the Serie A. Yes, you have and Lazio is one team that has kept its core for a very long time.
But they've been struggling. The only
the reason
figure
why
in there is Ciro Immobile.
And like I always say, they have one of the best strikers in the world that we don't recognize.
Immobile?
Of course.
Okay, so where do you see the game ending?
I see the game ending, and you can't compare the
where do you see the game? Who will win?
What I see is that Inter comparing Inter to Lazio. In fact, Inter has had a good run. They've had 100%. They've won their first two matches, and they've had a resurgence in Lukaku and the attack and everything.
Who wins?
For this, I would go for Inter.
Okay.
But like I said, that is for those who probably would bet.
Dave.
For that one, Lazio.
He's already made his pick.
Lazio can pull a surprise by scoring.
Let's go to France. The big game is in France. Take us to that game.
Is it actually a big game?
It's a big game.
Listen,
on paper, it's a big game.
It's not a big game.
On paper, it's a big game.
I can't find any paper here, but
on paper, it's a big game.
I think this is just a regular fixture. And no disrespect to Monaco, no disrespect, but you look at PSG this season, the sort of form they're in. Trust me, this could be a
mauling.
This could be a game where they could take Monaco to the cleaners.
Lionel Messi has found his Lionel Messi mojo again. Neymar for me has been brilliant for PSG this season.
Finally, it's all coming together for that particular flamboyant star trio.
And I think we need to give credit to Gatti as well.
Yeah, and Ocampos, because all of the managers,
his recruitment and everything.
all of the managers prior to him, Leonardo himself, who for a long time had spelled there, struggled to get the best out of their flamboyant attacking unit. Now you look at PSG now, look at what they did to Leo last weekend. We would have sat here and said, hey, that's a big game. This should be keenly contested.
They told them to stretch.
They took out any element of competition in that particular game. And I feel Monaco should probably carry some baskets because they will get it. They will take it.
Yeah, we cannot wrap up on European football in the next 60, 70 seconds. A quick tour in Spain. Espanyol, Real Madrid travel all the way to Espanyol. Where do you see that game ending?
And for Real Madrid, watching them last week, you realize that the firepower that they finished last season with is
still on course.
It's on the rise. And Espanyol is no match. Besides, Real Madrid is playing at home.
No, they're actually on the road.
They are on the road.
They're on the road against Espanyol.
But like you said, Real Madrid is a team that grinds results. They grind results.
But you don't think this game they will struggle?
I don't. You see, Celta Vigo is a more
Espanyol actually.
I'm saying Celta Vigo that they played last week,
okay.
where are more a formidable force over the past years than Espanyol. And the Real Madrid paid their records against Espanyol. It's not like Espanyol is going to pull out any surprise. And Madrid this season, unlike last season, are spreading out the goals. See, last season it was all centered on Karim Benzema. But they have a 4-goal thriller, and you have Benzema scoring 1 out of it. You have Vinicius coming in, Valverde coming in. So the midfield and the rest are also pulling up. They would grind the results.
Barca at home to Real Valladolid, who pulled a surprise against Sevilla.
Oh, that was Sevilla. This is Barcelona. 4-1 over
the Anoeta
over Sociedad. There should be one.
And Lewandowski coming on to change everything.
Robert Lewandowski, I feel, would add up to his tally in this particular. And then for Barcelona, I think they have to manage Fati. If they get him fit, he'll be key to their success this season.
That's one thing personally I agree 100% with you. If they get him fit,
of course.
He's been stubborn. They actually requested that he has surgery, but he decided he declined.
That surgery thing has to do with the African players. You know, Umtiti also did the same thing.
He doesn't have an African mentality.
No. I'm saying that is the Umtiti has an. I'm trying to say that. It is something that they often detest.
Anyway.
They don't prefer surgery.
So you're expecting Barca to win?
Barca should win.
You're expecting Real Madrid to win?
Of course.
All right. So I personally think that the two big guns in Spain would win their games over the weekend. And there are a lot of interesting games across Europe. As always, Sports 101 is here to give you the best of sports analysis and preview. Dave, what should they do?
Well, subscribe. SUBCRIB. Subscribe, and then please do also drop a comment. If you've got any feedbacks, we'd love to hear them from you. Drop them in the comment section. Recommend your friends to join us on this party, and we're doing this with you.
And Dave, I forgot to add, we have an interesting thing for our viewers and those who watch us from next week going. Every Wednesday, for my investors, Wednesday, expect that
there's a money making machine.
Yeah, Dave will be dishing out some tips and some odds for you to probably invest in. So Sports 101, we are going to give you everything. So for our tipsters, every Wednesday, watch our videos. At the end of the show, we'll be putting out some tips or odds for you to try your luck on.